Video today we will be talking about the 2024 U.S. House of Representatives elections, the branch of Congress, of course, that has the most seats and that we rarely talk about because of that fact. But in today's video, we will be talking about it as not going district by district, but generally in how Democrats are really positioned to take back control of the U.S. House in 2022. We see that Republicans won 222 seats, Democrats won 213. This was a flip of control. Republicans took back control in 2022. And in 2024, I believe, Democrats will then take back the House once again, after, of course, the Republican take back of 2022. So in 2024, nationwide, I believe that Democrats are going to win 225 seats. The Republicans will win 210, so the Democrats will exceed the margin that Republicans won the House by in 2022, 225 to 210. A relatively healthy margin, however, it is still pretty close, and Democrats would like to even expand on that, I'm sure. But Kamala Harris, and her becoming the presumptive Democratic nominee, well, now the official Democratic nominee, I should say, she has completely turned this race around, not only for herself, but for congressional Democrats as well. When you just think about district by district, especially, we'll get to this, but Kamala Harris is just able to turn more Democrats out to the polls now, like Joe Biden could not have possibly done, considering how unpopular he is. But Kamala Harris, as the nominee, she will turn Democrats out to the polls, and she will get Democrats elected down ballot. Now, before we really get into this video, I do want to say I will be posting daily forecasts on my community page about the House, Senate, and, of course, the presidency daily, so you see how it changes. So definitely make sure to subscribe to my channel so that these come up on your YouTube feed so that you could see them every day. But as I said, going back to the main purpose of this video, Kamala Harris really turning this race around because of enthusiasm. In 2022, Democrats exceeded expectations, and they were expected to lose 40 seats, people were saying, in the House. It was supposed to be a blowout for Republicans in the Senate. In the House and the Senate, I should say. In the Senate, Democrats were expected to lose Nevada. The Republicans were expected to keep Pennsylvania. Democrats might lose Georgia, might lose Arizona. So it was supposed to be a blowout in the House and the Senate. But in the Senate, what ended up happening is that Democrats actually gained a seat. No one could have expected it. And then not much better for Republicans, but they still did win the House, but it was only a plus 10 net gain when it was supposed to be like plus 40. So, and this was because of the issue of abortion. It really turned Democrats out to the polls. It got Democrats to vote in a way that pollsters were not able to capture. So at the end of the day, yes, Joe Biden was an unpopular president and still is, and that's why people were predicting a Republican blowout. That's why polls indicated that it would be a Republican bloodbath. Despite that, Democrats were still as enthusiastic because, yes, again, Joe Biden was unpopular. Maybe that turned some Republicans out to the polls, but did it make them enthusiastic? Not really when you think about it. It's not It's not a positive. It's not going to turn Republicans out to the polls and make them enthusiastic. But on the other hand, the issue of abortion, which pollsters failed to capture, that was enthusiastic. It made Democrats actually enthusiastic and care and turn out to vote. And what Kamala Harris is doing is something actually very similar. It's not about an issue, though. She is now the abortion issue, and it doesn't have to do with abortion. I'm just saying she is making Democrats now enthusiastic, while Republicans really aren't. Kamala Harris is now more of her party supports Kamala Harris than the Republicans do for Donald Trump. The Democrats are now more enthusiastic in poll after poll See, in this Ipsos poll, most Democrats are very enthusiastic about Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. Democrats are now much more enthusiastic for Kamala Harris than Republicans are for Donald Trump. That is something you don't see very often in this day and age. Republican, or I should say Trump supporters, are always more enthusiastic than the Republicans, but now that is not true. Again, Donald Trump's juice is just going away. He doesn't have that same type of a special candidate serum that he had in 2016 and even 2020. So, Kamala Harris is now more enthusiastic, or the Democrats are now more enthusiastic about Kamala Harris. And that is huge because now Democrats are going to actually turn out to the polls across the nation, which helps them down ballot. It was looking really bad for them when Joe Biden was back in the race. Now, this part is really important. Where it matters is so huge because when, Democrats are more enthusiastic, that is going to be, of course, centered around the blue states. There's going to be more enthusiasm for Kamala Harris in blue states than there are for red states, obviously, because there are more Democrats in blue states than Democrats in red states. So it doesn't help on the presidential level, right? If Kamala Harris now has much more enthusiastic Democrats in blue states than she does in red states. That doesn't help on the presidential level. She was going to win those states, those blue states, and lose those red states anyway. However, it does matter down ballot because where Democrats got beat up the most in the 2022 elections were blue states, specifically New York and Colorado. Just take a look at New York especially. Democrats would have won control of the House if they didn't have Kathy Hochul, the incredibly unpopular Democratic governor, at the top of the ticket, which is way down the whole Democratic ticket below it. They would have won control of the House. That's how close it was. For example, let's just go through all of the competitive districts. You see that all of the competitive districts, of them all, Democrats won one. That was Pat Ryan in New York 18. But in the 22nd district, Brandon Williams won. I believe this was his first term, or maybe a second term, but he won by less than a point. He won by 0.98%. In the 19th district, Mark Molinaro won by a narrow 1.6%. In the 17th district, Mike Lawler won by an incredibly close margin of 0.6%. In the 4th district, Anthony D'Esposito, he won by 3.6%. In the 3rd district, George Santos won by 7.5%. And then in the 1st district, Nick LaLota won by 11%. Now, the maps were different, so we can't directly, in 2020, so we can't directly compare the two results. But I know that Joe Biden won the 1st district. He won. Now, it doesn't matter by congressional district on the presidential level. When you look at Biden's vote share and you draw out the map on the 2020 map, he won the 1st district. It was by an extremely narrow margin by less than a point. So that means he definitely won the 22nd district, the 19th, the 17th. He definitely won the 3rd, I know that for sure, by 8. I think he won it by 8, and then George Santos went on to win by 7.5. An insane shift towards the right. New York, the 4th district also went to Joe Biden. So these are Democratic districts that were so depressed in Democratic turnout because you had such an unpopular incumbent as governor. But now, not only is Kathy Hochul off the ballot, Democrats have a reason to turn out. They have not Kathy Hochul. They have Kamala Harris now at the top of the ticket, who they want to go out and vote for. And again, that is going to be most prominently seen in these blue states, because there's going to be more enthusiasm for Democrats in blue areas than they are for red areas. New York is so important, and California is so important as well, especially because both those states are huge and have so many districts up for grabs. In 2022, they also had a weak governor up for re-election, Gavin Newsom. He did pretty poorly, unexpectedly. Not as bad as Kathy Hochul, but still pretty poorly. So he weighed down Democrats down ballot. In the 41st district, Ken Calvert was able to hang on by 4.7%. In, let's see if I could, there it is. In the 45th district, Michelle Steele was able to hang on by 4.6%. 0.8%. In the 27th district, Mike Garcia, he won by, it was a different map, but he won by 0.098% in 2020. And then 2 years later, he went on to win by 6.5. In the 22nd district, David Valadao, he won by 3. In the 13th district, John Duarte, he won by 0.4%. So we see in both of these states, wherever there were competitive races, in the vast majority, Republicans were able to win them. Now it's because of a lack of enthusiasm, a weak governor at the top of the ticket, and it's just a much different game in 2024 as it was in 2020. So looking at my map, again, there are flips nationwide, but it is going to be most prominent in California and New York. But like looking at New York, I have Brandon Williams losing. I have Mark Molinaro losing. I have Mike Lawler losing. I have Anthony D'Esposito losing. I have Tom Suozzi, who replaced George Santos, winning by a lot. I have Nick Lolota only hanging on by less than a percentage point. It's just a much different game now with these, with Kamala Harris at the top of the ticket. I have David Valadao losing. I have John Duarte losing. I have Ken Calvert only hanging on by less than a percentage point. I have, what's his name? Mike Garcia winning by about a point or two. So that is where it matters, because you just have such a bulk of districts in these two blue states. So yes, there are flips nationwide, right? You've got, I have Adam Frisch taking back Lauren Boebert's seat in the 3rd district. That's another flip. I have whatever his name was in Arizona. I have Juan Kiscomani. He loses. I have David Schweiker losing. So there are a couple, flips nationwide, right? Democrats gain a seat in Louisiana and Alabama as well because of new maps. But New York and California, you just have a bulk, a mass of these districts that it's easy to flip for Democrats. 2022 was just an awful year for them in these two states specifically, not nationwide, but just these two states because of many reasons. But they do take them back in 2024. So thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, again, make sure to subscribe down below, get my daily forecasts. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before Election Day. So if you could help me out with that, that would be great. Again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.